Yes, you have ordered your carriage at 8 o'clock precisely. I have. You intend visiting Il Colosseo. You mean the Colosseum? It is the same thing. You have told your coachman to leave the city by Porta del Popolo, to drive round the walls, and re-enter by the Porta San Giovanni. These are my words exactly. Well, this route is impossible. Impossible? Very dangerous, to say the least. Dangerous? And why? On account of the famous Luigi Vampa. Pray, who may this famous Luigi Vampa be? Inquired Albert. He may be very famous at Rome, but I can assure you he is quite unknown at Paris. What? You do not know him? I have not had that honor. You have never heard his name? Never. Well then, he is a bandit, compared to whom the De Cesaris and the Gasparonis were mere children. Now then, Albert, cried Franz, here is a bandit for you at last. I forewarn you, Signor Pastrini, that I shall not believe one word of what you are going to tell us. Having told you this, begin. Once upon a time, well, go on. Signor Pastrini turned towards Franz, who seemed to him the more reasonable of the two. We must do him justice. He had had a great many Frenchmen in his house, but had never been able to comprehend them. Excellency, he said gravely, addressing Franz, if you look upon me as a liar, it is useless for me to say anything. It was for your interest, Albert does not say you are a liar, Signor Pastrini, said Franz, but that he will not believe what you are going to tell us. I will believe all you say. So proceed. I'm doubling down on how I feel about Albert. I'm going to call him Albert instead of Albert. Little Albert. Albert is a bit of a dick. And closed-minded. I don't know. Everything about him just seems a little brash and crass. I don't know. He's just rubbing me the wrong way. I wouldn't want to hang out with him at a party. Let's put it that way. I would be very remiss if I were caught in the corner by the hors d'oeuvres at a party next to Albert, who I could see him being the type is like, oh, I went to Rome, and you wouldn't believe the type of Italians they have there. Oh, and then going on a string of semi-racist, insensitive comments about another culture. That seems like who Albert is to me. I'm not turning into a fan of him. And not to call myself prescient, but almost verbatim does Dumas and Signor Pastrini here say Signor Pastrini turned towards Franz, who seemed to him the more reasonable of the two. Something I believe it was yesterday that I had said, between Franz and Albert, I would much rather engage with Franz. But we got a name here, and boy, oh boy, Dumas, I'm onto you after everything that's happened so far, and the 2 times you've already tricked me. Luigi Vampa, he's a bandit. This is surely a disguise of Dante. I know. I can smell it a mile away. Luigi Vampa. And what a good name to, I guess, okay, I don't know that it's Dante. And I should have learned my lesson at this point in my life to never be sure of anything. Leave there to be room for any possibility. So I'm going to take the story for what it is and not get ahead of myself. I don't know that that's Dante. But still, whether it's Dante or it's not Dante, Luigi Vampa. What a great enigmatic name for a bandit to have an air of mystique around. Signor Pastrini is trying to warn these two about their little frivolous trip that they think they're taking, this harmless venture into the city. And Pastrini's like, but I was just thinking of your benefit when I tried to warn you about this Vampa dude. You need to know about him. And that's where Albert's like, oh boy, what kind of fairy tale are you going to weave us now? I'm not going to believe one word of it, but go on, tell us what you got. I don't know what is about to be told to us about Vampa, but what are we to take of the seriousness of the matter with Pastrini turning toward Franz to say it? Like, okay, he's not going to take me seriously. I believe you are actually going to listen. Whether or not you heed my words is a different story, but you got to listen to what I have to say. And Franz is accepting of this. But I mean, on a story level, from like a Dumas perspective, what is this setting up, the tone-wise, atmosphere-wise, and is it a tone in which we should heed the words of Pastrini? Because there's all these little flourishes Dumas does, particularly when talking about people of a certain culture, that make me sometimes cock an eyebrow at, like, Dumas, are you telling me we don't need to take him too seriously? Or are you telling me we need to have pity on him? Or are you telling me that it's just their way to be this way that they are? Like, this whole line here, after he says that Pastrini turned toward Franz, semicolon, we must do him justice, him being Pastrini. He had had a great many Frenchmen in his house, but he had never been able to comprehend them. These little comments, which not in necessarily a problematic way, but I am writing a French novel for primarily French audiences. I'm taking the guise of Dumas here. Remember we talked about the travelogues, letting readers know the sort of sensibilities of other cultures. And whether that commentary is flattering, whether it's a caricature, the very fact that you're making a comment on the otherness of this culture places them in front of a different lens than if you're just talking about another French character in your story. I'm thinking I'm reading a little too hard into that, and that there isn't any reason that we need to doubt Pastrini, though, I mean, he did try to squeeze a few extra dollars out of that carriage ride. Okay, sorry, I've talked myself into a brain pretzel here, and I don't know where I stand. So I think there's only one thing I can do to get myself out of it, which is just continue reading and seeing how Dumas presents whatever the hell Pastrini has to say about Luigi Vampa. What a great name. Okay, so until tomorrow, when we learned a bit more about this mysterious bandit, join me then. Okay, goodbye. The Countdown of Monte Cristo is part of the Gruntwork Podcast Network. This show is produced, edited, and hosted by Landon Solano. The original text of The Count of Monte Cristo by Alexandre Dumas. Theme song by Magic Solo. If you want to support the show and others like it, visit patreon.com/gruntworkpod. Thank you for listening. See you tomorrow.